And perhaps maybe your greatest singles match in Montreal might have been a couple years later against Hollywood Hogan. That was a big
True.
night as well. You didn't see Hogan doing a lot of clean losses at that time. How did this all come to be? Is this kind of, I've heard stories that Hulk really is respectful to people in their hometowns and really likes to give them that extra push in their hometown. Did being in Montreal have something big to do with you and Hulk doing business together there?
I think it was a combination of a few things. I was always a professional. I was there for 10 years opening shows for Hulk many times. And a lot of people don't know this, but they always think the main event is the most important match of the night, but it's not. The most important match of the night is the first one. Because if you go out and you have a great first match, people are into it. So it just builds. But if you put your first match out there and it's a shitty match, people don't believe in what they saw. Then it takes 2 or 3 matches for them. So I think Hulk had respect for everything we've done in 10 years. I also think that the fact that I stopped the bullying with the Bulldog, because he lost a lot of friends, Hulk, that were bullied by the Bulldog and just quit the business. And he was afraid too. He never said it, but everybody was afraid of the Bulldogs because they were on drugs and substances and steroids and drinking and all this mix. They were pretty loud plus obnoxious. So I think in somewhere Hulk was protected because he was the icon and everything. The Bulldogs never messed with him, but I still think that he was hoping that his day would never come. So when I stopped the bullying, it completely stopped. And he knew what it took. So when I had my match in Montreal, and plus I was the one who brought WCW to Montreal. My lawyer, Cookie Lazarus, he put $250,000 up to get the publicity, to rent the Molson Center, the whole building, and he was all behind. He got a TV deal for TBS, for WCW in Montreal. It was our first, and then we were opening the first show. So Eric Bischoff and was the boss of WCW. But Hulk was the boss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was 2 bosses there. Like there was one boss, but Hulk, he knew he was the man. NWO, he was at the prime of his career with Razor Ramon and Diesel and all that. They were really hot with the NWO. So I think that there was an ego thing between them too, and I thought there was a little problem between them. So I just came in and I offered to Hulk. I said, "Hey Hulk," I said, "I have an opportunity to get you guys on TV. I have an opportunity to bring you into Montreal," which WWF had the exclusivity, and it was a little bit of a vengeance for me too. And I said, "The only thing I'm asking, I'd like to work with you. I wanted to be the legend, the match of the legends, the Quebec legend against the world legend. And he says, 'Yep, I'll do it.' When he said yes, I freaked out. And then when we got to Montreal, he got into the dressing room in front of everybody, all the boys, the Harlem Heat, Ric Flair, Dean Malenko, all the guys, the big guys were there, and he says, 'Okay, boss, what are we doing tonight?' He says that to me. I'm looking at him like, that's funny. That's really funny. And then everybody was laughing too. And then he says, 'I'm not kidding, brother. It's your show.' He said, 'What are we doing?' He says, 'How do you want to beat me?'
Wow.
And then I went like, 'You're very funny, Hulk. You're very, very funny. I got to give it to you. You're very funny.' He said, 'I'm serious, brother.' I said, 'Okay.' I said, 'You're serious?' He says, 'I'm serious, brother.' I said, 'Okay.' I said, 'Well, why don't you beat me up the whole match and I'll just small package you at the end.' I want him to look so good. And that came upon that. And I remember after that match, we were in the dressing room. When I came back out of the match, I just got the win, the clean pinfall on him. No gimmicks, no nothing. There were no ropes, no manager, no nothing. And I got back in the dressing room, and there was none of the boys left in the dressing room. They were all gone. Like they didn't want to see it, they didn't want to see me because a lot of guys wanted to beat Hulk before me, and they didn't have the chance. So it was like, I guess that's what it was. So anyway, I'm standing in front of the mirror in the dressing room, and then I'm a little swollen up a bit. We had a little rugged match. I think he must have changed his mind when he came out, because when I came out, I had 99% of the people booing me in my hometown. I didn't expect that. That went over my head. And then when he came out, NWO and everything, it was a riot. So I'm sure when he was getting all this ovation and stuff, he was probably saying, "What the hell did I do to say that I was going to get beat by this jabroni?" But anyway, so the match is pretty rough. And then when I got in front of the dressing room, I'm looking at the mirror like this, and he walks in, and he comes in, and he says, "You okay, brother?" And I looked at him and says, "Yeah." "You okay?" He says, "Yes, sir." So he turns around to walk out. I said, "Hey, Hulk." And then he turns back around and says, "Why'd you do that?" He says, he thought maybe I was thinking about being stiff a bit. But I say, I wasn't talking about that at all. I said, why'd you do that? He looks at me, he says, Eddie Auger, Johnny and Jacques Rougeau, Raymond, Jacques Armand Rougeau. He says, everything that the Rougeau brothers and the Rougeau family did in Montreal, he says, that's why I did it.
Wow.
And what a great man. But I also then remember Jimmy Hart coming right after. He just came right after Hulk left, and he says, Jacques, he says, it's not true. He says, because of what you did to the Bulldog. But Jimmy Hart told me that, and not Hulk. But it was like, so there's a mix of a lot of reasons, I think, a coincidence, timing, him being pissed off at Bischoff or whatever it was. There was a bunch of things, a bunch of factors that made it that my notoriety went from here to just like that. So every time I was doing a promo, every time I do a conference and everywhere, I always brought the footage of where I beat Hulk Hogan, the biggest icon of wrestling. So
100%.
so I used it, and I overused it because it was such a great thing that happened to me.
That's incredible.